Well, here we go again. Destiny 2 has had a torrid first year, rivaling Destiny 1's torrid first year. And once again, it's up to the big September expansion to fix it. Is Forsaken another Taken King? Here's our video review. So we already knew about Forsaken's biggest changes. Killing off the beloved Cayde 6 is a bold way to kick the story off, but it's also a clever one, as it's meant that many fans have been thirsty to avenge their buddy ever since E3 when it was first announced. And it sets up a way more personal story than that of galactic threats like Dominus Ghaul or Oryx the Taken King before him, and the story is far better for it. Funny thing, actually, about fighting for survival, it often makes for a pretty dull plot. It's morally uncomplicated and tends to bring people together. Forsaken, though, is a mission of either justice or vengeance in Cayde's name, and the thin line between the two is the central theme. In some tight story direction, that theme surfaces regularly. One low spoiler example is the wedge it drives between the surviving Vanguard leaders, Zavala and Ikora. The writing has also improved. Most of the cringeworthy cliches are confined to an exuberant Cayde, as Bungie sent him out on a high in the first mission.
Just another day at the office. Sorry, not sorry. Now I'm pissed.
Usually I hate that kind of nonsense, but I just can't hate Cayde. And thankfully the rest of Forsaken is deliciously dark. Cayde's murderer, Uldren Sov, was an ally in Destiny 1, albeit an unwilling one and a massive tool besides. So why he's done this is a mystery that keeps you intrigued. Even if you didn't play the first game, Bungie hints that Uldren isn't all he seems, by teasing a possible motive for his actions and then subverting it. It's much better handled than Ghaul's arc in vanilla Destiny 2. Most of the campaign is set in the Tangled Shore, a new location in the Reef that, with its purple skyboxes and barren plains, is occasionally as gorgeous as anywhere else in Destiny 2, although a lot of it is taken up by fallen dens of the kind that we've seen before. There are technically only 5 story missions, but they are all pretty lengthy, and they're further padded out by 6 adventures in which you kill off Uldren's barons. Each of those features a short tracking section followed by a boss fight, and although those fights are some of the best in Destiny campaigns, it's easy to overstate their impact. Each Baron has a gimmick, but they don't really ask much from you. The Rifleman, for instance, can make clones of himself, which are easily enough killed off just by popping out from cover. The Machinist can fire cluster missiles, which you can dodge by the radical tactic of, get this, moving. So each gimmick is easily avoided, and once you've done so, each Baron is just another bullet sponge boss like those we've been killing for years already. And even if you're a little bit shy of their recommended power levels, they're all still a bit easy. But the reason this doesn't bother me quite as much as the easiness of vanilla Destiny 2 did, is the broader changes to combat. In line with community demand, weapon slots have been revised so that shotguns, sniper rifles and even the odd grenade launcher are now mixed in among the old staples in your first 2 slots, and they're joined there by the excellent new bow, which feels satisfyingly solid to use. This simply means that combat is more varied and just plain fun. Plug a few acolytes with your hand cannon, whip out a shotgun to smoke a knight at close range and then drop a rocket on a bunch of thrall. It can all be done, it's all possible. So yes, PvE is still easy, and to be honest, the new Scorn enemies don't really do anything to change that. But at least it's not boring anymore. Speaking of these weapon slots, Bungie never confirmed it, but many assumed that Destiny 2's slot changes, the ones that Forsaken unpicks, were made with PvP balance in mind. And sometime with Forsaken we'll show you why. Together with global reductions in time to kill and global increases in player speed, the Crucible is unrecognisable compared with its plodding pace last year. I appreciated the fairness of vanilla Crucible, but I'll admit it was pretty dull. It's not dull anymore. Sub-second kills are the norm now. Everything is much faster and more chaotic, although if 6v6 quick play is too much for you, then you can still get a more considered tactical experience in doubles, rumble or competitive. And on that note, it's great that there are more than just 2 playlists now, so you have a wider choice of experiences. Quite a lot of that is welcome. I see no reason why Forsaken from now on won't repeat the problems of Destiny 1's Crucible, where on-meta guns were often so dominant that playing against them felt impossible. Sure, not every meta was as bad as pre-nerf Vex Mythoclast, but some were pretty close. Total balance is obviously impossible, and a gently shifting meta does keep things fresh. Look at Overwatch, or to be honest, most multiplayer games. But not many of those have let on-meta tactics get as dominant as Destiny 1 did. And on that note, a few standout guns are already seeing a lot of play, like the new Ace of Spades or Sleeper Simulant in Gambit. It's too soon to say if this will be a problem, but it might be. Speaking of Gambit, if you're the competitive type and you don't fancy the Crucible, Forsaken's new game mode is an almost unqualified success. Two teams compete to kill PvE enemies and bank the motes they drop. The first to bank 75 summons a boss, and the first team to kill said boss wins the round. At certain intervals, you can invade the other team and throw a spanner in their works by killing them. It's accessible, offering something for PvE and PvP fans alike, and yet deep. Coordinated teams who divide their focus effectively between killing enemies and banking and invading at the right times will have a huge edge over their opponents. I've already played enough to get a full set of its gear, and I'm still not bored of it. It's enormous fun, and probably the first genuinely original idea that Destiny has had. Add to this 3 new strikes and the Dreaming City, an utterly stunning endgame location that's full of secrets, and Forsaken is the most content-rich expansion that Destiny has ever had. It's comfortably bigger than the Taken King. But, as we saw in vanilla Destiny 2, all of this content can be rendered valueless unless the incentive systems underpinning it are good, which is why arguably the best changes that Forsaken makes are to those systems. Weekly milestones are gone, replaced by challenges which have both weekly and daily forms, so they refresh on a less predictable schedule. What this means in practice is you never quite know when you log in which sources of high-end loot will be on offer, but there's a huge potential menu to pick from. Planetary flashpoints, heroic story missions, strikes, nightfall strikes, Crucible and Gambit all have potentially daily and weekly challenges. Plus there's a weekly bounty, clan XP and a few exotic quests. So all told, Forsaken does a great job of making more of its content replayable and rewarding, and on a less predictable schedule. This all overlaps with the new Triumphs and Collections tabs in the main menu. Triumphs are basically just achievements, although they do unlock emblems and lore cards, so you can read up on the backstory behind characters like Uldren Sov or the intriguing Drifter, director of Gambit. Collections, though, is a really excellent new quality of life feature. You can browse every gun, every armor piece, and every shader in the game. You can see which ones have dropped for you, and you can even make a copy of those that have, as long as it doesn't have random perks. This means that you can scrap all your Year 1 loot, safe in the knowledge that you can rebuild it right from the main menu. And if you're a die-hard completionist, unlocking more gear in the collection or chasing achievements will give you plenty to grind. Forsaken could still bomb. We haven't seen the raid yet, and the raid obviously is integral to its longevity. And it might suck! Or 6 months from now, Anthem or The Division 2 could blow Destiny out the water. Not least because they're offering a lot of their live content for free, whereas Forsaken is asking you to shell out $40 for the expansion, $70 for the expansion plus the annual pass, or alternatively $100 for the complete collection, which includes both the original base game and its expansion pass, which you need if you want to play Forsaken. Here's the face that those prices make me pull. Of course, only you know how much you can afford and how much you're prepared to spend, but some skepticism is definitely warranted here. Destiny's track record with DLC is not great. Last year's Curse of Osiris in particular was borderline insulting in how thin it was. And based on that prior experience, I was ready to be cynical about Forsaken too, but I can't be. After a week of playing it solidly, it definitely seems like Destiny is fun again. Believe me, I'm as surprised as you. Being a Destiny player has always been a bit of a roller coaster of exciting highs and frustrating lows, and we've gotten used to it being on a low for a while, but Forsaken is a high. It brings huge improvements to the quality, quantity and structure of content in Destiny 2. It's time we all accepted, I think, that the series will probably never hit the absurd expectations that we all had and that Bungie invited before the launch of the original. But with Forsaken, it feels like Bungie finally understands what they have actually made. Is it another Taken King? If anything, that might be underestimating it. You can read more if you'd like at PCGamesN.com, where we have our full written review. I hope this video was helpful. Give us a like if it was, share it with your friends if you think it'd help them, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Has Destiny turned a corner, or is it too little too late with the likes of Warframe and Fortnite knocking around? Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you next time.